The woman behind me, as you can see, has the top of her swimsuit off, and currently she's lying face down, but just a few minutes ago she was lying face up and showing the whole world her essence. That this is very normal for Spain. In the United States, people would gasp, people would stare, people would talk, just as we have done about this woman because we're Americans. But people in Spain just walk on by because this is a very normal thing to do. Very open society. I think that Spain is a lot more comfortable with the human body and with nudity here than we are in the United States. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just a fact of life over here that you're going to have to get used to seeing some things that you don't normally see in public in the United States.
Today, Spain, like much of Europe, is liberal by American standards. Nudity appears in movies, on television, in household magazines, and in news kiosks. There are even several options to download nudity to your cell phone. With this liberal background, some Spaniards don't understand why many Americans have problems with nudity.
So within the first week we were here, we watched a delay of game of the Super Bowl and saw the Janet Jackson breast incident. And immediately Lola got into an uproar because there were so many people who were talking about it negatively in the States and who were demanding for censorship and demanding for punishment for Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. And she really got upset about it. She said that we should talk about things that were more important in the world, that there are starving children in the US and that people are sick in the US, and that we should be talking about these things instead of making a fuss for a week about an exposed breast. And personally, I think that since it was at a football game and it is nationally televised, it was inappropriate, and it did deserve a little, to be talked about a little bit, and in a negative way, but that going on for an entire week was a little much. But here in Spain, they had a completely different view of it. In a country where there are breasts on every magazine rack and it's on TV all the time, they didn't really understand the fuss. And on all the news shows, they would do spoofs of it at the end for about a week. There's one show called Las Noticias del Guiñol, which is a show with a whole bunch of puppets. And they would show Janet Jackson running up and flashing George Bush, and he would melt into flames and things like this. But for about a week there, we did hear a lot about the U.S. being called hypocrites. Lola, my senior, even called us fascist because as a result, the Grammys were censored, put on a 10-minute delay. And she thought it was kind of awkward that a country that demands freedom of speech and freedom of press and freedom of whatever thought was restricting people so harshly, and that nobody said anything about it. So that's the view of the incident in Spain.
It is notable, however, that Spain has not always been so accepting of nudity. In fact, it wasn't too many years ago that Spanish newsreels couldn't even show professional boxing because of naked male torsos. Of course, this was during a different age. From 1939 to 1975, the fascist dictator Francisco Franco was a very conservative influence on the country. Television, for example, was controlled by TVE, the state-run television monopoly, and was very heavily censored. All shows were subject to a content evaluation before reaching the airwaves, and shows made specifically for TVE had to first be pre-censored by a committee of priests, judges, armed forces, and others. With the nation experiencing strong influence by the Catholic Church, other denominations weren't allowed to even publish books or own property. Franco society also poorly treated Spanish women. Wives were not allowed to take a job, start a business, or open a bank account without a husband's permission, and adultery laws were much harsher for women than they were for men. This conservatism, however, died with Franco in 1975, and the new democracy was followed by a new liberal mindset.
Bueno, pues los cambios que yo percibí de la dictadura a la democracia, bueno, a la transición, claro, están vistos desde el punto de vista de una niña, pero más o menos lo que pude ver fue una recuperación de la libertad, de poder hacer todas aquellas cosas que habían estado prohibidas, y quizás se produjo un exceso, ¿no? Por el placer de degustar estas cosas que antes, como he dicho, estaban prohibidas. Yo recuerdo el boom que se produjo en el cine español, un cine que se centraba sobre todo en la posibilidad de que apareciesen mujeres desnudas, lo que nosotros llamamos el destape, un cine que para mí no tiene ninguna calidad, pero bueno, eso podía un poco simbolizar la necesidad que teníamos bueno, que tenían, porque yo, como he dicho, era una niña, que tenían los españoles, pues de poder hacer todas esas cosas que estaban prohibidas. También recuerdo que surgieron grupos de música que denunciaban pues abusos de patrones sobre obreros o las precarias condiciones de los campesinos, ese tipo de cosas que antes pues no se podía hablar de ello, estaba totalmente prohibido.
Today, Spain is more accepting of general nudity, but in other areas, Spain appears more conservative than the United States. According to DivorceMag.com, 49% of American marriages end in divorce, while only 17% of Spanish marriages end in divorce. Another recent change in Spain occurred to the change. Since 1868, Spaniards had used the peseta currency, but after joining the European Monetary Union, Spain retired the peseta in 2002 and began to use the euro alongside 12 other union members.
Bueno, pues el cambio de pesetas a euros supuso un ejercicio mental, evidentemente. Una cosa, parece muy simple, tú estás pensando siempre en una moneda y no te das cuenta de lo difícil que es empezar a pensar en otra moneda y acostumbrarse a ella. Yo recuerdo que al principio lo que más me costaba era saber el dinero que realmente llevaba en la cartera. Tenía 20 euros, pero a lo mejor 20 euros, ¿no? Pero no sabía qué significaba exactamente esa cantidad, si era mucho, si era poco, estaba un poco perdida, ¿no? Ahora sé el valor real que tienen 20 euros, pero bueno, cuesta un poco habituarse a la moneda. Siempre tienes que ir haciendo cálculos, siempre tienes que pensar en pesetas para comprender qué significa el euro.
The exchange rate from pesetas to euros can be a little confusing, with 1 euro valuing 166 pesetas.
Claro, y entonces al principio las cosas parecen más baratas, porque si antes pagabas 1000 pesetas por cualquier objeto, ahora esas 1000 pesetas son 6 euros. Y claro, dices, qué barato, solo 6 euros, pero son 1000 pesetas, ¿no? Sí. Claro, bueno, cambia el concepto, pero bueno, al final te acostumbras y sabes que 6 euros son 6 euros.
Spain has experienced a long history of change. During various eras, the Iberian Peninsula has been strongly affected by the Romans, Moors, Christians, and the French. Some worry that Spain's entry into the European Union will diminish its identity. However, it is this producer's opinion that one of Spain's greatest characteristics is its ability to experience intense outside influence and assimilate the positive into its own unique identity.
Te da pena perder una moneda que durante tantos años ha estado contigo, es como un poco romántico, ¿no? La peseta, pero vamos, lo cogimos con ganas.
Hi, I'm here in Segovia, and I'm going to withdraw some money if I can get the card in the ATM. And here's my money. I have 50 euros, 20 euros, 20 euros, 10 euros. En total es 100 euros. Don't show that to the Spanish teachers.